Students and faculty proceed to the nearest classroom. This is a lockdown.
What's up guys, it's Key here, and today we're going to be reacting to Dr. No Sleep. It's one of his videos, 3 school lockdown scary horror stories, I believe. It's 3 stories, yeah. We're going to see how this is going to be. If you guys like the video, leave a like and comment down below. Let's get into it. Yes sir.
Dr. No Sleep.
Edmonds Academy for the Talented and Gifted was unlike any school I had ever heard of. It was a boarding school tucked deep in the forests of Northern California. The school was incredibly wealthy and had advanced facilities and technology. Every student that attended came from a rich family, and most often they were sent to Edmonds Academy simply because their snobby parents didn't want to have to deal with them throughout the year. This was mostly true for me as well. I had been attending a standard private school near my home, but I never cared much about my education. My parents grew tired of my dwindling grades, but finding the ounce of weed in my dresser was the last straw for them. They had heard great things about Edmonds Academy. Virtually every student who graduated went on to become a
Bro, like, they sent him to private school because they found some weed, bro. Like, people in private school are doing the most drugs, if anything. Like, they're doing the most. Like, come on now.
Powerful and successful leader in their field. Edmonds Academy also proudly advertised that their teaching methods were unorthodox and were geared toward students who could not thrive in a standardized learning environment. Anyway,
weird,
my parents signed an unusual number of papers, wrote a breathtakingly large check, and shipped me off to my new academic prison.
Bro, they just spent $500,000 on this. What the fuck? But they just spent $500,000. Hold up, y'all.
And signed an unusual number of papers,
A whole
wrote
file
a
cabinet,
breathtakingly large,
and then a whole meal, bro. Something, the whole filing cabinet, and then gave them a meal, $500,000, probably a meal. You know what I'm saying? Cause that's just a down payment, bro. Like, send him to boot camp.
check, and shipped me off to my new academic prison. And prison is the correct word.
Yeah.
One day I was hiking through the forest surrounding the campus. About 2 miles out, I came across a massive electric fence. The kind of messed up school used an electric fence to keep students in. Teachers were strange, to say the least.
But he in a mental crib, bro. He in a mental crib.
Each teacher always carried an electronic tablet with them. It looked as if they were running science experiments in between classes. The classes were a bit strange, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Whenever there was a possibility for hands-on learning, the academy opted for that. We dissected more animals than I could have imagined. And my favorite part was that there were no tests. Evidently, you couldn't flunk out of Edmonds Academy, which was great news for me. I was in my first year of the upper division, basically the academy's version of high school, when I began to fully understand the nature of the school. It was the last day of our first term in the upper division, and my cohort arrived in our designated learning zone like any other day. We had a cohort of 6 students, and we all attended every class together and slept in the same dormitory together, even though we were a mixed group consisting of 4 boys and 2 girls. The first thing we all noticed was how quiet and empty the building was. We hadn't seen any students or teachers on our way in.
But that's some Walking Dead shit, bro. As soon as I would notice that there's nobody there, bro, I'd be scared already, bro. I start hiding. I'm big, bro. I probably can't. Them look like some big ass lockers, bro. But I'm hiding, bro. I'm hiding somewhere. I don't know, bro.
We entered our classroom and sat down. Dr. Zellman, our primary instructor, wasn't in the room. We waited. "Were we not supposed to come in today?" Hal asked me. Hal was pretty much the only person I could stand at the school. He was a bit snobby like every rich kid, but he was also the most down to earth. Plus, it helped that he had been able to smuggle in a dab pen with many cartridges of cannabis oil. We would get high together all the time. Pretty sure, I replied. Dr. Zellman even said see you tomorrow yesterday. Why would he say that if we weren't supposed to be here? The last member of our cohort to arrive was Andy Buxton.
Yo, who is this, bro? Why he look like a little lean, swole version of like Hank off of Breaking Bad.
He was large for his age, and his face was heavily scarred by acne. He was hickish looking, which made him appear very out of place in our school uniforms. Although, apparently to make his uniform more his own, Andy had torn his sleeves off. Everyone knew to stay out of Andy's way. He was menacing, and I hate to say it, but if there was one kid from our school who I had to guess would go on some violent rampage, it would be him. I'm not sure if anyone else knew just how scary he was. One night, I had entered our dormitory bathroom to find Andy. He had stolen a box of frogs that were meant for school dissections. The bathroom reeked with the stench of blood and guts the moment I opened the door. Andy had been tearing the frogs apart, ripping off their legs, peeling their skin back. I never said a word to him about it. I'm not even sure he even saw me. Andy took a seat in the back and said nothing.
This is stupid.
Katie Forrester chimed in. She was chewing gum obnoxiously.
If no one shows up, I'm just going to leave.
She was a spoiled rich girl, but I agreed with her. What was the point of sitting in this room if no one was here? I was about to say something to Hal when an alarm blared overhead. Metal blast shields slid down over our windows, and the door to our room shut and locked itself. An automated voice kept...
They got that Tony Stark shit, you heard? You heard?
repeating.
A lockdown is in effect. Proceed to a designated safety area.
I hope it's a shooter.
Andy said.
But he's like, maybe I could show him what these fish do, man. Maybe I can get a little active, you know what I'm saying?
I take care of him.
We all went silent at this comment. Hal looked at me and mouthed,
Yikes.
Yikes. Yikes.
A smell reached my nose. Smoke. I looked up. The vents at each corner of the room had thick smoke pouring out of them.
Is the school on fire?
Kyle Dunswick asked in a panic.
Is that why the lockdown was engaged?
I ran to the door that sealed our room to try and open it. Edmonds Academy used key cards for all doors. I placed my student ID on the card reader. It made a disapproving beeping sound and flashed red. Megan Livingston, an awkward and quiet girl, responded to Kyle.
That doesn't make sense. Why would they lock the doors in the event of a fire? It doesn't matter.
Katie shouted.
We're all going to choke to death from this smoke.
The large touch screen on the front wall suddenly powered on. There was...
Bro, what is that, bro? Somebody in the chat tell me, what language is this? What language is this? I'm trying to learn this.
was a 5x5 grid, each square containing strange symbols I didn't recognize. The bottom row, however, was empty.
Anyone know what language that is?
Hal asked.
It's a pattern matrix,
Megan said in her meek voice.
We have to use the information from the previous squares to complete the pattern on the last row.
Don't make no sense.
She approached the screen.
I don't want to be that guy.
Kyle said.
But would you mind figuring this little puzzle out before we all suffocate?
Megan tapped the screen and cycled through different symbols until she completed the bottom row. Then she pressed enter. There was a buzzing sound, and Megan's small body crumpled to the floor.
But she dead, bruh. She dead?
She had been electrocuted. Megan was whimpering and pleading.
Don't make me touch it again. Please, don't make me touch it.
My eyes were watering from the smoke.
You don't have to. Tell me the pattern, and I'll enter it. You can get it right this time. Just focus.
Megan nodded and looked back at the screen.
Oh,
She said.
how did I miss that? Change the last symbol to the oval with 3 lines through it.
I cycled to that symbol and got ready to press enter. I hesitated. "Are you sure?" I asked. "Positive." I braced myself and pressed enter. There was an upbeat beeping sound, and the door to our room slid open. We all ran out, Hal and I carrying Megan. The school apparently shifted. Instead of entering the hallway, we found ourselves in another larger room. As we entered, the door to our classroom sealed shut behind us.
Oh no. Oh no 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 no. No 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 no. They are in the Squid Game. They are in the Squid Game, guys. There's nothing we can do.
There was another locked door on the opposite side. Above the door, flush with the wall, was a timer counting down from 1 minute. The timer reached 0, and the walls to our left and right began to move, closing in on us. Some students instinctively pushed against the walls, but it was no use. Then the wall stopped. The timer started again from 1 minute. Andy was standing at a pedestal in the middle of the room. He picked a single object off it. My blood ran cold. He was holding a dagger.
No friends, no friends, no friends. Ooh, bro, they finna go on. Mike Myers on y'all, bro. I'm finna slash it, gash it. He finna really get you, bro. He finna go stupid on y'all, bro. He gonna scream on y'all, ghost face, bro.
He smiled.
There's an inscription on it.
He said.
It says, "The key to your survival."
I didn't like the sound of that. And I especially didn't like that Andy was the one holding it.
Whoa, Andy. Let's talk this through. We need to figure this out together. Why? It's obvious, isn't it? It's Charles Darwin. We read him for class a month ago. Survival of the fittest. We need to remove the weak genes. We need to get rid of the one holding us back.
Andy walked right up to Megan. My body tensed.
He looks so creepy, bro.
"Now," Andy began, pointing the knife at Megan.
I would have thought you were the weakest among us, but you got us out of that room. So clearly you're fit for something. You,
He pointed the dagger at me.
you were brave enough to step in and take the shock yourself if she was wrong.
Andy walked around.
She look like it's the dude from Star Wars, bro. It's the Sith Lord dude.
And take the shock yourself if she was wrong.
Andy walked around all of us, swinging the dagger back and forth in a menacing motion.
I know who the weakest among us is. You aren't strong. You aren't smart.
No.
You're just a useless burden.
Hal and I were moving to intervene when the clock reached 0. The walls began to close in even further. Andy struck. He plunged the dagger into Katie's chest. She screamed and tried to fight him off, but she was no match for him. He thrust the dagger into her 3 more times. She grew still and quiet. The timer reset to 1 minute and continued to count down. Andy said, looking at the timer.
Guess it wasn't
Bro,
a test to find the weakest. It must be a...
Bro, what? He's so crazy, bro. Dude, he's going stupid, dude. What? He's going insane.
test to find the strongest. A last man standing situation.
A last man standing situation. He's gonna kill y'all. He's gonna kill all y'all.
He was going to kill all of us.
Yep.
He grabbed Megan because she was closest to him. I tackled him to the ground and bent the wrist that was holding the dagger. The dagger slid across the floor, but Andy was much stronger than me. He kneed me in the stomach and got on top of me. He raised a powerful fist into the air, and he froze. His eyes were wide and his mouth was open. He tumbled off me. Hal stood there, breathing heavily. He had stuck the dagger in the back of Andy's skull. The clock struck 0 again.
Quick!
I shouted.
We have to use the bodies to block the walls. Don't think about it. Just turn them sideways.
We positioned the 2 corpses on top of each other. We pressed against the lifeless bodies of our classmates and didn't even slow. This was it. We were going to be crushed. The wall stopped again. The door to the exit suddenly unlatched and slid open. Dr. Zellman stood in the doorway.
Interesting.
He muttered.
Yes, very interesting. It's been a while since a student resorted to fatal violence. 3 whole years, in fact.
He checked something on his tablet.
Megan, well done solving that matrix. Excellent work under pressure. And Andy, great job connecting your situation to Darwin. It's
You in the Matrix, bro?
important to always draw knowledge from every...
He noticed Andy's corpse on the floor.
Oh,
Dr. Zellman said,
oh dear. He appears to be... Yes, well, these things happen. But that reminds me, Jacob,
he said, turning to me.
excellent work overcoming your disgust and trying to use the bodies as a stopping block. Very resourceful.
I stared at my professor with my jaw open.
You were trying to kill us.
I said faintly.
What? No, of course not. You never were in any real danger. We stopped the walls before they could reach you. And if you hadn't figured out the first room, we would have pulled you out before the smoke suffocated you. No real danger?
I asked, anger rising.
2 of us are dead. Yes, well,
Dr. Zellman began.
we never told you to kill anyone. This was up to you all. We simply permitted you the freedom to do as you wished. What the hell were we supposed to do?
I asked.
Oh, the knife was the key. Literally. It has a key card in its blade. It would have opened the door.
Dr. Zellman said this as if it were the most mundane thing in the world.
Bro, he finna go stupid, bro.
He looked around at all of us.
Look, I can understand your discomfort, but we were trying to get you to overcome your preconceived notions. We gave you a knife, but wanted you to consider that things aren't always as they seem. Unfortunately, you chose to use the knife as well as a knife. The important thing is that we all learned something. You see, at Edmonds Academy, you don't pass or fail. You just learn.
That was like insane, though.
And said we were all free to go. When I arrived at our dorm, my anger had completely transformed into unbearable dread. I realized that there was nothing I could do. I couldn't call the police. I couldn't even call my own parents. And we were all trapped here. There was no way out. I sat in my bed, knowing that I would remain here for the next 3 years. Whatever these people wanted to teach me, or whatever they planned to do to me, I would just have to accept it. I wondered if I would die here. Or worse, if I survived, I wondered what kind of callous monster I would be by the end of my time at Edmonds Academy for the Talented and Gifted.
Story 2, Daisy. I forgot what the first story was called, but this story is called Daisy. We're gonna probably cut this video into 2 parts, so halfway through this story, we're gonna cut it, and it's gonna be a part 2 to this, alright?
The past haunts us. Of this, I was always certain. It haunts us through the things we have done and the things we have left undone. It was in my senior year of high school that I learned that the past isn't always a forlorn reminder. It can come as vengeance. The past can rise and swell with real power.
What's that?
And come crashing down not only on ourselves, but on the innocents around us. But the unimaginable thing that happened at my high school didn't come from any of these. And that should be expected. Ghost stories are just stories after all. No. The event that left our town's past unsettled was a concrete event, albeit a tragic event. But there was nothing mysterious about it. Some 30 years early, over a decade before I was even born, a girl from our town was murdered. Her name was Daisy. She was a freshman at the very high school I was about to graduate from.
Shit.
She was found days after her death.
Days.
Bruises on her neck indicating strangulation.
What?
Her body had been hidden in the ceiling above the principal's office.
Look at the principal did it, bro. Look at him. The nigga going to jail. You're done. You're done. You're gone. You're going to jail. Jail. You're done. 25 to life. Shit, that's a body. What is he facing like? And I'm like 30? 40?
Principal at the time was arrested and charged with her murder. And so, everyone thought the matter was settled. Everyone was wrong. It was a Friday in March, AP Calculus. Mr. Hartfield was a man who looked far older than his age of 60. It was rumored that he had been close to her, something like a
No. No. We know what happened. You know what happened.
father figure. He was a serious but kind man, and my only friend in the whole school. Often, I ate lunch with him in his classroom.
He trying to be next.
But sometimes he told me I needed to go out and be with the other students. I understood that he was trying to help me, but this exercise was pointless, especially considering I was about to leave this school forever, when a piercing sound filled the room. It was the school alarm. Our principal's voice came over the intercom.
All students and faculty proceed to the nearest classroom. This is a lockdown.
Don't know what this is about, he said.
Aren't you like supposed to like shut up, bro? If like the alarm's going off, like why y'all screaming? Why are you screaming? Why are you running? Like why are you screaming? Sit down, shut up, boss up, get ready to fight. Get ready to fight.
But let's proceed as if it's an active shooter. All the students near me were muttering to each other. Lizzie Smith was clearly in a panic. She was clutching her boyfriend, asking if he really thought there was a shooter in the school, as the principal had not said it was a drill. He pulled her close and said, "Nah, I'm sure it's nothing. Besides, if there is a shooter, we could just push Daniel out first and run." He nodded to me. I was appalled that he could seem so casual, while I was even more appalled that Lizzie laughed at this. My glare in their direction went
Bitches laugh at anything, bro. Bitches will laugh at anything, bro.
entirely unnoticed. Ring, ring. The old landline phone
Ring, bro. It's Ghostface, bro.
in the classroom, which the faculty used to quickly communicate with each other, began to ring. Mr. Hartfield picked up the phone. I watched his face.
Sandy.
He grew pale at whatever was said on the other side. Then he said, "Yes, understood, but nothing to worry about. Everyone just remain calm and quiet." Knowing that something was wrong, I crawled over to Mr. Hartfield's desk. "Mr. Hartfield," I said, "I know something bad happened. I won't tell anyone else, but can you please just tell me? I found a body." "What?"
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
It appeared that he had been strangled. "So there's a killer in the school?" "Yes, but no one knows where." The room fell into a deeper darkness. It was as if a shadow had fallen over the school, blocking out the rays of light that had been filtering through the blinds. Then the room burst with brightness as someone switched the lights on. "Who turned that light on?" Peeked through the blinds. There was nothing but a black void outside the window. Black, dry erase marker was suspended in midair, floating with its cap off. The marker moved and began to write on the board. When considering triangular formulas, what is the opposite divided by the hypotenuse equal to? The answer, of course, was sine of the angle, or sine of theta. Thinking that answering correctly might help our situation, I shouted, "Sine of theta!" A chuckle ran through the air. It sounded like a girl was laughing, only it seemed to radiate through the room. Something else was being written on the board. It was as if it was being carved into the board with an invisible knife. It was the answer to the question, the abbreviation for the word sine, written as sin. The strange laughter that seemed to come from everywhere at once increased. The lights flashed in rhythm with the laughter. Then the laughter stopped. "If you want anyone in this school to live, come outside and talk with me."
Nah, but you can't say that, bro. That's Voldemort, bro. And he's like, Harry. He's like, Harry, come here, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No one else seemed to hear it. I stood up and walked to the classroom door and unlocked it. "What are you doing?" I ignored him and ran into the hall.